Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and hello if you are new, thank you so much for clicking on the video. In today's video, I'm basically going to be giving you my top 10 recommendations for underrated things to watch on Netflix. Obviously, I'm sure we've all got tons more time on our hands than we usually would have because of the sort of self-isolation, which obviously I just hope everyone is staying inside as much as possible and staying safe. I have compiled together a list of mostly films, but I have also got a few series recommendations as well. And yeah, I will say that my taste is quite on the kind of like thriller, horror, mystery, psychological kind of genre side. Like I don't really like romances, comedies, things like that. I'm more like dark when it comes to films. I really like darker films, so these are kind of more like on the thriller and horror side as well. By the way, if you like my makeup in this video, then I have a tutorial up on my Instagram of how I created this look, so definitely go and follow me on Instagram if you wanted to see how I created this makeup look that I'm wearing right now. So I've got my little list here. I'm not going to talk about them in any particular order, like I haven't got a 1 to 10 in order. I'm just going to talk about them all at random. In my opinion, they're all really good, and if you've got some spare time, which you probably have, then I would really recommend watching these things on Netflix. So the first thing that I would recommend is actually a film, and this one is a thriller slash horror, I believe, and this film is called A Fall from Grace, and this is actually a Netflix original film. I watched this about a month ago with my boyfriend, and we just kind of found it on Netflix and just thought we'd give it a go because the trailer looked kind of cool, and it was such a good film. Like, this film has so many twists and turns, and if you like a good thriller that's kind of like almost like a little bit of a mystery, you kind of can never tell what's going to happen, and just when you think you know what's going to happen, there's a massive twist, and it's just so good. It really keeps you on the edge of your seat. You're like screaming at the telly at some point. It is just such a good watch. Honestly, probably this would be kind of in my top 3 of the list. This is one of my favourite kind of recommendations. If you have not seen this film and you like a good thriller slash horror, then you need to go and watch this film. So film number 2 is A Quiet Place. Again, this one is definitely more on the kind of horror side. I would say it's a thriller slash horror. This one is quite scary. And by the way, in this video, I'm not really going to give away too much about what actually happens in the film because I feel like that's pointless. Like, you're going to go and watch it potentially, so why would I tell you what actually happens? But this one is kind of set more in the future, and it's kind of like to do with kind of almost at the end of the world. It's definitely another one that keeps you on the edge of your seat and you're literally like screaming at the telly sometimes. It's done really, really well, and there is actually a second one coming out, which I was really looking forward to going and seeing in the cinema soon, but obviously now the cinema's closed, so I'm gonna have to wait. First one is an amazing watch, and I would highly recommend it for anyone who likes a good thriller. So the next one is a straight up horror, and this one is called Orphan, and I believe this is more of an older film. This film I saw ages ago, and I've watched it probably about 3 times since because it's such a good horror film. This one has actually got a really cool storyline to where it's actually scary, and it's got a really, really, really good twist at the end. Like, you really don't see it coming. If you haven't already guessed, I love films that have kind of like good twists and turns in and bits where like you really don't see them coming, and this one has some really good twists. And if you like a horror but you don't like watching ones that are just stupid, like ones about kind of ghosts and things like that, which isn't really up my street, this one is a really good horror. Breather, I'm out of breath. So the next film I actually watched about a week ago, again with my boyfriend, and this one is called Adrift. So this one is a thriller, like definitely a thriller, but it's also quite a sad film. So if you're not really into sad films, then I probably wouldn't recommend this one because it has got quite a sad kind of ending. Oh, I just gave that away, maybe I'll cut that bit out. But it is quite sad, so if you don't really like sad films, then probably wouldn't recommend this one too much, but it is a really lovely film. It's based on a true story as well. It's got Shailene Woodley in it, who is the girl that plays the main character in The Fault in Our Stars, and I just love that girl. I don't know what it is about her, but I just love her. I think she's so pretty, and she's just such a good actress in everything that I've seen her in. She's just brilliant, and this film was no different. She was absolutely amazing. Have I got lipstick on my tea? I didn't even check. Yeah, she was absolutely amazing, and it really was a film that pulled on your heartstrings. So yeah, Adrift is amazing. You have to go and watch it. So film number 5 is actually called Level 16. This film again is a thriller. I'm really sorry that literally every film is a thriller in this video, but as you can tell, I just like thrillers and horrors. And if you wanted to see like another video where I talked about kind of other films and series I like that aren't surrounded by thrillers and horrors, just let me know and I can definitely do that as well. But this one was kind of more of a psychological one where it was kind of almost like along the lines of kind of like mental hospital, a bit clinical. I kind of actually have forgotten, I'm not gonna lie, the kind of actual kind of storyline of the film, but as I was kind of preparing for this video, I was just going through Netflix to see what films I've watched before and that I really enjoyed, and that one stood out to me, and I remember really liking it and thinking that it was a really, really good film and it was really well done. So yeah, if you're looking for more of a psychological thriller, it kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat as well there. Level 16 is a really good watch. So film at number 6, this film is called In the Tall Grass, and it's a really cool film. Again, I think this one is a Netflix original. This one is quite a weird one. Like, it's definitely more of a weird kind of scary film. This one was definitely on the kind of more gory side. Like, it had a little bit more like gory kind of bits in it. I do remember it being quite like bloodthirsty at the end, so if you don't like a lot of, you know, blood and things like that, then you probably won't like this one too much. But it's got a really cool storyline, so if you're looking for a good horror, then In the Tall Grass is a really good one, and I don't really hear anyone talking about that one either. Okay, so number 7 is actually a series, so I thought I'd just change it up a little bit from films for a second, and this series is called Bates Motel, which I feel like is the most underrated series on Netflix. I don't really know if many people talk about this or not, but for some reason whenever I mention to people like, have you seen it, they always say no. Like, pretty much anyone that I've ever spoken to has never seen these series. It actually started quite a while ago, I believe. Like, it was quite a few years old now. This series, if you didn't know, is actually based on the film called Psycho, which is kind of the old black and white film. It's very famous for the guy stabbing the girl in the shower. It's quite an iconic kind of horror film. It was kind of, I think, one of the first horror films to ever kind of be like a thing. Like, it made horror films a thing, that film. Anyway, this series is actually set before that film, so it's kind of based on that man, but while he was growing up and his kind of journey into becoming a psychopath. For me personally, it was a really clever way that they kind of started the series and then how it elevated, because it starts off in a way which makes you feel and think a certain thing, and then kind of halfway through you kind of realise that all what you thought from the start of the series was actually kind of not even real, and they kind of just portrayed it in a different way, and the way they did it was really clever. Okay, so film number 8 is called July 22. This film is a kind of horror slash thriller, and this one is also quite sad, so if you don't like kind of sad films then you probably won't like this one. But this one was based on a true story of a terror attack that happened on an island, I believe in Sweden or Switzerland. They're two completely different places, I realise, but I think it was a place that began with an S. Anyways, this is based on a terror attack that actually happened in real life, and the kind of storyline of it progresses with a boy who actually got really badly injured in the terror attack but survived it, and it was kind of about his life and how he kind of got over it, and also about the man's life that committed the terrorist attack and his trial and court trial and all of that. And oh, my ankle just clipped. And you do also see the kind of terror attack at the beginning, which is really kind of scary, and it's definitely more, yeah, on the horror and thriller side. So if you like that kind of gory stuff, I like watching it, because I don't really know why, it's a bit kind of effed up if you think about it, but I do like watching stuff like that. Don't ask me why, but I just find it quite entertaining. But yeah, if you're looking for kind of a true story of a horror film, then that one is really good. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to talk about, so number 9, is actually Sherlock, which is a series. Again, I don't hear anyone talking about this, and I don't actually know why. So this series was originally created for BBC, but now it's been transferred onto Netflix as well, and this one has Benedict Cumberbatch as the main actor, and yeah, he plays Sherlock Holmes in it. Obviously Sherlock Holmes, as probably anyone and everyone will know, is kind of based on the book. Was it a book? I say anyone and everyone knows, and I don't even bloody know myself. But obviously Sherlock Holmes is a very kind of famous story, and it is about obviously a detective. The series is done in a very kind of modern way, but yeah, it's just such a good series. I absolutely loved this series. Each episode is just brilliant, has got such a good mystery, and throughout the whole thing there's like a bigger kind of storyline that wraps around the whole thing. So you've got your each individual episodes which have their each individual kind of mystery, but then there is a kind of big mystery that kind of wraps around the whole series, and at the end there's such a good twist. Again, with the twist, I love a good twist, I do. It's just such a good watch. So if you're looking for a good series to get your teeth into, then Sherlock is really good. So the last film, last but not least, film number 10 is called Look Away, and this, again, shock horror, is a horror. This I watched about a month and a half ago maybe, and this one was about a girl who was a bit weird. She had kind of like problems, kind of like mentally, and again, I don't want to give too much away about the actual film, but this one is a really kind of cool horror slash thriller. It's definitely got, again, lots of twists and turns. I've said that about a million times in this video, but it does have a good kind of twist in it. It's kind of a different take on a horror film, because like I said, I don't really like horror films that have got like ghosts and a load of random kind of unrealistic stuff. This one is more of a kind of like realistic horror film, if that makes any sense. She kind of basically sees herself in the mirror, but it's not actually her, it's like another girl that looks like her who's talking to her, and then this girl is like evil, the one in the mirror, and then the evil girl ends up taking over the kind of actual girl's body. So yeah, I say I'm not going to give anything away, and I'll basically just tell you the whole storyline. Anyways, it's a really good watch and it's a really nice horror film. If you don't want to watch a horror film with ghosts and blood and all of that good stuff in it, then this one is really, really good and I would highly recommend you watch it. But anyways, that is it, guys. So that is my top 10 kind of underrated things to watch on Netflix. So if you're bored, definitely watch 1 or more or 10 of these films and series because they are honestly amazing, in my opinion anyway. Do let me know in the comments if you've seen any already or if you're going to watch them, and let me know what you think of them. I'd be really interested to find out if you guys like them as much as me. Please let me know as well if you wanted me to film a kind of part 2 to this video. If you wanted me to film another one that's kind of not horror and thriller, I can definitely do that for you. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't already. That would be amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.